second part of the video, and we are going to be seeing what I can max out at. I should be able to get to 35 comfortably, hopefully this time, and not embarrass myself, but we will have to see. Alright, so this riff looks pretty good already. There's an elite mob in the front, and this is the kind of riff you want to get, because right off the bat I have two elites, and as you can see, everything's going quite well so far. The last riff we ran at 32 was quite horrible, had pretty bad mob density, but this one looks very promising. So hopefully we can get up to at least about 35. Alright, these mobs have a little bit of HP, so what I'm actually going to start doing is leading off with my Piranha's Peronato, because what that does is that makes the monsters take their 25% more damage. This guy's going a little bit nutty, but luckily, since I have a lot of cooldown reduction, I can keep harvesting over and over again, and there's really not much you can do about it. Alright. And I'm staying kind of his mortar, and he just got blown up, so that was a good thing. So I think I want to start using Locust Swarm and Haunt before I harvest, or at least doing Peronato first, because some of the mobs are surviving. See, that's another good one. This is a really good riff so far. Another elite. This is, I think, our 4th or 5th one. This is the kind of riffs you want. These are the kind of riffs that allow you to rank up and skip, so you don't have to go the monotony of just like going up one level at a time. But like I saw in the last video, sometimes you just get a riff where you just can't control anything, and you just get really bad mobs and stuff. Kind of mobs you want are like Act 1 mobs, Act 2 mobs. Act 3 is okay, 4 and 5 you don't want, because their AI is very smart, and with them scaling with the greater rift, their damage becomes a little crazy to deal with. There we go. Just keeping it moving, Haunt and harvesting. Having that high cooldown reduction makes it so we can keep casting our spells over again. So Haunt, Locust Swarm on the big guy, harvest. Peronato, probably just Peronato Haunt will probably be enough for this group, which it was. So I'll just probably do Peronato, Haunt them up, harvest, kind of keep it like going like a well-oiled machine. Now this group I'll Locust Swarm too, just so I can get the big guy too in one harvest. Piranha's Peronato, I'll Horrify immediately, harvest, recast my Haunts. And just be careful I don't get hit by anything weird. And then I'm going to go back in there and harvest. And that's another elite down. So pretty much when you get into the Jade build, you just got to get into your rotations and just knowing how much damage or how many dots or what do I need to do to try to get these mobs down in one hit. Because that's your ultimate goal, is to get the mobs down in one hit, so you can conserve your mana and stuff like that. There we go. So I'm just going to keep on leading with the Peronato first and just haunting and harvesting, and it's working out pretty good so far. Got some pretty good mob density. Might skip a couple levels too. Big guys, Locust Swarm Haunt just like we did before, just to get the one-hit shot. And this is just kind of, you know, you start getting used to your Jade build. When you do so many runs on Greater Rifts, you'll know, like, okay, on this level, I kind of need to cast Locust Swarm and Haunt on the trash. Because usually you don't have to bring out all the big stops until you get to the elite. But sometimes certain mobs can be very annoying, so you might have to, you know, put a little bit more damage on them just to make sure you can get them one shot. Pretty much trash mobs should go Haunt, then Harvest. Mobs with little trash mobs, a little bit more HP. It's Haunt, Locust Swarm, and then Harvest. And then of course with your elites, you want to do your Piranhas and Peronato. Then you want to cast your Locust Swarm, and then you want to cast your Haunt and then Harvest to try to get them in 1 to 2 hits, so you maximize the damage. And then of course, as your gear gets better, you will notice at levels where you actually used to have to cast a lot more spells to kill monsters in one hit, you don't have to, because your gear is getting a lot better. So, like I said, I'm really enjoying this rip so far. Great mob density. Real easy Act 1 mobs. No Act 5 mobs. You don't want those. Most of the mobs are dying just between a Paranado and a Haunt and a Harvest. Elites are not too crazy. So, Paranado, Locust Swarm, come in here, Harvest. Boom. We got him in one shot, so that was pretty solid. That's what we always want to go for, but you can't always get that kind of luck or stuff. So, oop. Piranha's a Paranado, I cast my Locust Swarm, got my Han subs, go in, Spirit Walk, got him in one shot. That's the kind of stuff you want to go for. Of course, the last level was 32. At this point, we probably will skip up to 34. We'll have to wait and see. Hopefully, we can get 35 skipped so we can keep the video fairly short. And like I said, I'm just playing really safe. Good cooldown reduction, so my skills are pretty much always off cooldown. And just keeping it moving. Alright, Piranhas and Paranado. And all the other minis get sucked in, come in, harvest, just like that. And then as long as you have good cooldown reduction, which you should, you can get a reset every time. And what I mean by reset, a reset's like when you harvest everything and then basically everything's off its cooldown, because with Raven Justice you're able to one-shot them and reduce the cooldown of all your skills. Now we're on to the next floor. I gotta be a little careful because I did pop my Spirit Vessel being a little bit greedy. Okay, I cast Horrify a little earlier there because it was the, oh my goodness, I don't know if I can get out of this. It was the Winged Assassins, and they're pretty aggressive. Piranhas and Paranado to save my ass. And that went actually pretty good. As you saw, since we had a low cooldown reduction, I was able to keep harvesting, killing monsters, reducing the cooldown of my skills so I can keep them CC'd until I was able to execute everything. So, Winged Assassins, the reason I don't like them is because when they hop, when you try to harvest them, it cancels the harvest. So sometimes you're just going to have to deal with that. I mean, there's not much you can do with it. Keeping up with the typical, like I said, this is only level 31, so, you know, just Piranhas or Paranado and Han is more than enough. I probably don't need to even do Piranhas or Paranado, but I just want to get them guaranteed kill. And that's the things I talk about, just basically playing consistent and playing safe. You know, I can afford the mana to cast Piranhas or Paranado every single time before I harvest. It activates the strong arm bracers, increased damage to the target, plus it's really good at keeping me safe. So there really isn't a reason for me not to cast it. Now right there I played a little bit greedy. I should have Spirit Walked out of the room, readjusted myself, laid down a fresh Piranhas or Paranado and harvest. So even me, I'm still working on the fundamentals in terms of just not playing greedy. Greedy will get you lost like riff runs and stuff, but it's hard sometimes. Like waiting back here, casting my Piranhas or Paranado, using Horrify. I mean, that's the kind of stuff I should be doing. Alright, so we're going to cast Paranado. We're going to cast Locust Swarm, Haunt, get them for the first harvest. Then we're going to put another Locust Swarm, and then Haunt on him. And then we're just going to wait for our cooldown. Don't need to cast Piranhas anymore because that stays on him permanently. And I will cast the occasional Horrify to up my armor so he doesn't get any rocks on me or anything like that. Harvest, Haunt, Locust Swarm. I might throw down a Paranado to try to get rid of his little minion over there, but for the most part, we're just going to be haunting, Locust Swarming. Might do the occasional Horrify for CC. Might throw down a Piranhas or Paranado and harvest again. And we're just basically keeping up this rotation. Now, if my Spirit Vessels was popped, I wouldn't probably risk doing Locust Swarm 2. I'd probably just basically do the Haunt, then come in and harvest. This should probably get us to about 34, I'd imagine. Okay, got bracers, got a ceremonial knife, nothing too special. Pick up all the treasure. That. Nah, we got 33. Skip 2. That's okay. We'll be right back. Gonna go ahead and close this rift down. And we'll go ahead and do number 33. Okay. Let's go ahead and do number 33. Fix my headphones. And we're going to do being the same basic stuff. Piranha's a Paranado. Fall by Harvest. Same thing here. Fall by Harvest. And I like to work the outer edges of a map first. This seems to be a lot easier to do. I put in a little Pestilence for the big guy. Another Piranha's and Paranado. A couple Haunts. Harvest. And one more Harvest should do it. Alright. Got an Elite here. Gonna Harvest. My Spirit Vessel pops, so I have to be a little careful. Got him. So that was pretty nice because now we're ahead. See some mobs down here. I think that was the only one. Uh-oh. Piranha's a Paranado. Keep a good distance. Haunt everything up. Go in there. Harvest. And Harvest again. Big mob in there, so I'll add in a little bit of Pestilence. Piranha's a Paranado. Go back in there, Harvest. And Harvest. And they're dead. Piranha's a Paranado. Horrify. Locust Swarm. Haunt. Spirit Walk in. Harvest. Horrify. Piranha's a Paranado. Go back in. Harvest. Piranha's a Paranado. Re-haunt everything back up. Go back in, Harvest, and that was pretty straightforward. So that's the kind of mobs you want at these levels. Nice mob density, playing consistently with the Jade build, not trying to be a superhero, but just playing safe. Using Piranha's a Paranado to give us like a little bit of a buffer and a little bit of a safety blanket between you and the mob. Horrify, Locust Swarm. Haunt everything and Harvest, and then Locust Swarm or haunt everything. Come over and Harvest. Piranha's and Paranado. Haunt everything up. Harvest. Some big mobs I will Horrify just to keep them CC'd so they don't cast their crazy spells. Now he needed a Locust Swarm and a haunt, but that was okay. It's not the end of me. So just need to be a little careful. Harvest. Recast my Piranha's a Paranado. Haunt from afar. Great. Come in. Harvest. Get a reset. Recast Piranha's a Paranado. Haunt everything. Come in. Harvest. And I mean, that's all you gotta do. If you can just get into good rotations and you got some good mobs, everything is pretty simple. Occasionally, if you like to throw in a Locust Swarm, you can too if you got the mana. But I usually like to use Locust Swarm just to save it for the elites. Alright. Harvest. And just move it through the environment. We got a big guy over there. Gonna cast Piranha's and Paranado. Harvest these guys up first. Horrify to get them off us. Piranha's and Paranado. Always put that between you and the mob. Harvest. Piranha's and Paranado. Haunt like that. We're just going to harvest him right now, and he's dead. So we're looking pretty good. We're kind of low on life, so we got to be careful. We don't want to pop our Spirit Vessel. And recast that. I'm gonna go ahead and harvest early. That was just so I can get a little bit of life back. Gotta watch out for the pulsating. That put me in. That wouldn't have popped my Vessel anyway, so that didn't really mean anything. So that's okay. And I'm gonna run away Spirit Walk. One more harvest, and it's dead. And like I said, we're building up really good meter and getting way ahead, just from playing safe. Not trying to do anything too fancy. And just trying to do things at a normal pace. Piranha's a Paranado, Haunt. Gonna do a Locust Swarm. Gonna Harvest, Horrify, Spirit Walk. Drop another Piranha's a Paranado. Harvest. Or sorry, Horrify. Harvest again. Piranha's a Paranado. Harvest again. Piranha's a Paranado. Horrify. Died. I think we have 2 elites inside that mob, which is okay. I should have played a little bit more safer. The run back is going to hurt me a little bit. But when I come back and kill those elites, that'll make kind of up for it. But I should have really would have pulled back a little bit. But they'll be there waiting for me. And they're already weakened. So let's get our asses back there. So here we go. We're going to lead with Piranhas and Paranado. And then harvest. And then we should get some nice resets. And then we can just take out the mob, no problem. So there we go. Harvest, horrify, boom. Just like that. Just like that. Get some nice resets. Yep, it was 2 elites. So when you die to 2 elites like that, don't feel too bad because, you know, 2 elites is not always the easiest thing to deal with. But we got a lot of meter for that, so I can't complain. That was pretty nice. Still would have been better if I did it without dying, but, you know, it happens. Hopefully my mechanics will still get a lot better where I just automatically try not to put myself in situations where it could do me a lot of damage. But considering we're doing pretty decent at 2 levels before our max out level, I'd say that's okay. Oh! Ooh, ooh. Now, this is something that's very important. If you ever meet a boss or minion mob next to the door of the next level, go into the next level first. Because if you die, then you'll reappear right here as opposed to having to do that crazy run back. So I'll just come in here. Do a little justice, spirit walk a little bit, harvest again, Piranhas of Paranado, Locust Swarm, horrify, keep myself alive and keep them CC'd, go back into harvest, there we go, another harvest and it's dead. So if you ever get to an enemy and it's next to a doorway, spirit walk, go through the door, that gets you your checkpoint, then go back to the level, then finish it off. It's not worth it to die and risk, you know, losing yourself and losing everything. Alright. Piranhas of Paranado, Spirit Walk, Harvest, Harvest, Harvest. Just need one more Spirit Walk on to play it safe. Just waiting for it. There we go, got it. Had to pop a Spirit Vessel using that, but that's okay. Nothing much I could have done versus that. Alright, hunt on all the targets. There we go. Gonna go ahead and cast Piranhas of Paranado. Harvest. Piranhas of Paranado. Harvest. And there we go. And hunt again one more time. Next room. Piranhas of Paranado. Got an elite. Need to be careful. We popped our Spirit Vessel. Go in there, harvest, horrify, re-harvest, or I'm sorry, re-haunt, Piranado, wait for the spirit walk to get off cooldown, go back in, pop them off. Pretty straightforward. And we're gonna keep it moving. Uh-oh, Piranhas of Paranado. Throw out a couple haunts. Go ahead and harvest, horrify, cast Locust Swarm, re-haunt. Recast the Piranhas of Paranado, Spirit Walk in, Harvest, Horrify, recast the Haunt, Paranado, Spirit Walk, Harvest, Horrify, recast the Piranados and the Haunt. And that's how you just kind of get into your little combos on monsters and stuff, and why the Jade build's pretty nice sometimes at high levels. If you got a couple minions and mobs to kill and it's a good mob density, you can do some pretty cool lockdown stuff with your skills and stuff and just keep re-harvesting over and over again. But Jade does really suffer when it has low mob density. It's pretty bad. Next room is an elite. We can see that. Piranhas of Paranado. Alright. Oop, Spirit Walk. Harvest. Do that. They got me in a bad vortex. Spirit Walk, I want to get out of this room. Paranado. When you're in situations like that, just don't die. It's better to not die. It's better to run away from a little bit and not die than to put yourself in a situation where you're risking your life. Because as long as you reduce the amount of deaths that you have, it really dramatically improves your runs and makes them a lot more consistent. In that situation, I could have kind of just, you know, play around in that room, but I decided to get out of the room before I got abused by monsters because I didn't want to take a death. Even though it's not that big of a run back, I don't want to do that. So we got the Rift Guardian Pier, Spider Queen Lady, Haunt, Locust Swarm, Harvest. I'm actually not going to Locust Swarm anymore because I have my Spirit Vessel pop. I want to play safe. So all I'm going to do is come in here, Harvest, recast the Haunt, stay in the other room. She got Spider Mob, so what you want to do is you want to try for the most part to harvest the Spider Mobs too. But I mean, as long as you're next to them, the reason why that's really good is because it reduces your cooldown again, and then I can re-harvest her sooner than I would be allowed to. So being close to the spiders when they die is actually pretty important because it helps you get more damage in terms of that she's resetting your cooldown for you, so you can keep getting in there. And you can, you know, keep harvesting her over and over again. So I'll start killing the spiders with Haunt and Locust Swarm. But the main thing about those spiders is just they're just there to help me get my cooldown for this spider lady so I can keep harvesting really fast. Because as long as I'm utilizing her spiders, because every spider I kill I get the 1% 1 second cooldown reduction, that speeds up her kill time. Now that I actually, well, I was about to say I got my Spirit Vessel back. I was going to be very safe, but I could start being more aggressive, but she popped my Spirit Vessel again. So I'm going to come in, harvest. We had 3 minutes left. I think that's going to bring us up to 34. There we go. Yep, 34. So that was okay. Let's head back to town. So this is part 2 of the Greater Rift run that we're doing. The first part explained the Jade build and broke down everything on what I'm using. The second video was this one of us clearing up to 34. And then I'm going to go ahead and put in the last video of me doing levels 34 and 35. And then we'll go ahead and, after I do this, I'll link you guys to the other videos and what have you not. Just trying to break it up into 3 videos so that you guys are not sitting there watching a whole hour-long video. Giving you guys little breaks so you guys can, you know, watch little bits in here and there. But anyways, I will see you guys in the next video. We'll be starting at level 34 and pushing up to our max level, which is level 35.